Hello and welcome to the Papyrus TV Africa News Update. I am Christiana Babayo. Before we begin, the headlines. Tinubu's intervention averts crisis in National Assembly. Federal government to launch 2 new investment funds for Nigerian startups. Private universities must join ASU, says NLC President. Kanu Rep Jibril joins APC backs Tinubu's re-election bid. And now the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stepped in to resolve a brewing upheaval in the House of Representatives after protests by indigenous contractors over unpaid 2024 to 2025 capital projects threatened to bring the legislature to a halt. Lawmakers had escalated pressure over delayed budget releases, with protesters blocking access to the assembly and calling for suspension of sittings. Financial constraints on constituency and national infrastructure projects had triggered frustration within the legislature. In response, Tinubu directed the Minister of Finance and the Accountant General to initiate immediate payments to affected contractors. The directive helped calm tensions and maintain legislative operations. Legislative leadership credited the president's prompt action and highlighted the episode as a test of fiscal discipline and institutional coordination in Nigeria's governance architecture. The federal government has concluded plans to introduce 2 new investment funds aimed at strengthening the startup ecosystem and expanding financing access for Nigeria's rapidly growing digital and creative industries. The initiative, which is part of the Investment in Digital and Creative Enterprises program, will see the creation of a creative sector fund and a fund of funds vehicle expected to be managed through partnerships with private investors and international development institutions. The move follows the successful close of the first round of funding for Ventures Platform, a venture capital firm leading investment in early-stage African startups. The new funds are projected to attract both local and international participation, unlocking fresh capital for innovation-driven enterprises and youth-led ventures across Nigeria. Officials at the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment said the scheme aligns with the President's renewed hope agenda, which prioritizes job creation, digital transformation, and the development of a knowledge-based economy. The 2 new funds will be structured to de-risk startup investment, stimulate private sector confidence, and support export-ready tech solutions. Government agencies such as the Bank of Industry, the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority, and the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria are expected to play key roles in fund management and monitoring. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has renewed calls for the inclusion of private universities in the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU), stressing that the exclusion of academic staff in privately owned institutions from organized labor representation undermines collective bargaining and equity in the education sector. The NLC leadership expressed concern that many private universities operate outside the framework of academic unionism, leading to disparities in working conditions, pay structure, and staff welfare. The Congress maintained that the unification of all higher institutions under the same labor framework would ensure fairness, protect workers' rights, and promote quality education across the country. Labor experts have long argued that the proliferation of private universities, while increasing access to education, has also created regulatory gaps and exposed staff to arbitrary employment terms. The NLC is expected to open consultations with the Federal Ministry of Education, the National Universities Commission (NUC), and the ASU leadership to establish modalities for private institutions' participation in the broader university labor structure. A member of the House of Representatives from Kanu State, Jibril, has formally joined the All Progressives Congress (APC) and declared his full support for President Bola Tinubu's re-election campaign. The lawmaker's defection marks another major political realignment in the Northwest as the APC intensifies its mobilization efforts ahead of the 2027 general elections. His move is seen as a consolidation of the ruling party's strength in Kanu, a strategic electoral base with one of the highest voting populations in the country. Party insiders say Jibril's entry is expected to boost grassroots mobilization and enhance coordination between federal and state campaign structures. Analysts note that his defection further underscores the shifting alliances among northern politicians as the race towards 2027 gradually gains momentum. The APC leadership in Kanu has welcomed the development, describing it as evidence of confidence in the current administration's economic and political agenda. We will now take a short break, and when we come back, the news will continue. Stay tuned.
Are you a busy professional in need of trustworthy domestic staff or a corporate entity looking to staff your company? Damsa Mega Recruitment and Consult, a premium staffing agency located in Apo area of Abuja, got you covered. We connect you with skilled, reliable workers who respect your home or office and understand your needs, whether it's a housekeeper, professional chef, cook, a nanny, gardener, security guard, gatesman, a driver, or any position in your office. We ensure you get the best services, so you can unwind after a long day or get your job done with no headache. Our staff are trained to respect boundaries, follow instructions, and communicate clearly, bringing peace of mind right to your doorsteps. At Damsa Mega Recruitment, we prioritize professionalism, integrity, and your satisfaction. For a service you can trust, think Damsa Mega Recruitment. Your comfort, our commitment. We are your trusted partner in quality service. Click on the link below to hire or get more information.
Welcome back, and now the news will continue. A pro-democracy organization has announced that seasoned political economist and reform advocate Gbenga Olawepo Hashim would serve as keynote speaker at its forthcoming National Democracy Dialogue scheduled for Abuja later this month. The group explained that the choice of Olawepo Hashim followed extensive consultations among civil society leaders, policymakers, and academics, noting his long-standing commitment to democratic governance and inclusive national development. The national dialogue will focus on electoral integrity, constitutional reform, civic participation, and the role of political leadership in consolidating Nigeria's democracy. Participants are expected from across the political spectrum, including members of the National Assembly, representatives of youth organizations, and diplomatic partners. The organizers said the event will produce a set of recommendations on strengthening democratic institutions, addressing voter apathy, and restoring public trust in governance. Policy papers from the dialogue will be transmitted to both chambers of the National Assembly for legislative consideration. Senator Orji Uzo Kalu has called on political and community leaders in the Southeast region to align with the federal government's Renewed Hope agenda, emphasizing that regional cooperation with the administration's economic vision will accelerate development across the zone. Kalu, a leading figure in Southeast politics, stated that sustained engagement with the president's economic recovery plan would attract federal investment in key areas such as infrastructure, industrialization, and youth empowerment. He also highlighted the importance of political unity within the region, stressing that internal division continues to limit the Southeast's influence in national decision-making. His remarks come at a time when several political blocs in the region are assessing their strategic relevance ahead of the next electoral cycle. Political observers believe Kalu's position reflects a growing sentiment among key stakeholders to prioritize pragmatic collaboration over partisan opposition. The senator is expected to spearhead a series of consultative forums aimed at mobilizing business leaders, youth groups, and professional associations around the federal government's long-term reform programs. Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to restoring peace and public safety, declaring that the government will deploy all available resources to identify and neutralize criminal elements disrupting the state's stability. Recent months have seen renewed incidents of communal tension, banditry, and kidnapping across parts of the north-central region. The state government has consequently intensified collaboration with security agencies to ensure coordinated patrols, intelligence sharing, and improved border surveillance. Governor Sule directed local council chairmen and traditional rulers to support security agencies in community-level intelligence gathering, warning that those aiding criminal activities will face prosecution. The administration has also announced plans to expand its security trust fund to finance modern equipment and communication technology for joint task forces operating within the state. Analysts note that Nasarawa's strategic position, sharing borders with the Federal Capital Territory, makes the region particularly vulnerable to security spillovers, underscoring the urgency of the governor's latest intervention. And that's all we have on the Papyrus TV Africa News Update. I am Christiana Babayo. Thanks for joining us.
At the Papyrus Global, we don't just cover events, we create cinematic experiences. From red carpets to birthdays, gala dinners, and your fairy tale weddings, we bring your moments to life with high-tech precision. Our gadgets are smarter, our lenses sharper, and our team simply world-class. Trust the Papyrus Global to tell your story in the boldest, brightest way possible.